Well, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. And as always, I always appreciate all the love and support, man. In today's video, we're going to talk about exactly where I've been so far with Prime and what the current status is and the situation. So, you know, I'm not going to cut any corners. I'm just going to get straight to the point, let you guys know exactly what I'm up to, what I did, and what the plan is. So, yeah, man. So with Prime right now, last week I did what we call a compression test. A lot of people on here messaged me and said on here and on Instagram and Facebook and everything, Snapchat, you know, everywhere, literally all my social media, everybody said you need to do a compression test and then do a leak down test. But first do the compression test and see if you have any issues with that cylinder that has the oil on the spark plug. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a shot and give it a try and see what happens, and hopefully, you know, it's not that, and you know, doing what I did right now should solve the problem with rehosing everything on the catch can. So long story short, I got everything all set up. I took the one spark plug out. I didn't take all of them out, all the coil packs and everything like that. I took the one spark plug out on cylinder number 1, where that one was getting the oil leak, the oil mark on the oil drip on the spark plug. So once I took that off, I put the compression tool, I put that on there, and then I told my pop, I said, you know what, just look at the gauge and tell me what it says, what the reading is. I had to disconnect the fuse that was in the trunk, which means I had to take apart my sound system. I ain't even gonna get into all that. I had to take apart the sound system, and then I had to get to the fuse. There's a fuse back there for the fuel pump, so that way it doesn't give any gas, but it'll give it that, you know, electric, that spark. All we need is that spark to see if what the gauge reads. So you do a dry and a wet test, which I'm gonna get into in just 1 second. So I took the fuse out from the back of the car. There's 2 other fuses. They were number 9 and 10 in the front of the car. There are 2 little yellow fuses in the box here in the front. Took those out, had everything plugged up and set up, and then when I gave it a shot and I fired it up, there was nothing on the gauge. That was a bad sign when I noticed there was nothing on the gauge. So I told my dad, you know, let me try it again. Nothing on the gauge. Try it again. There was nothing there. So he said, you know what, go to the 3rd cylinder. And you know, there was a 2nd or 3rd cylinder right next to it, and I went to the one on the far back, you know, the valve cover. Because that was easy access, so 3rd cylinder. And when I did that, I did the same exact steps, and as soon as I plugged up the compression tool, fired it up, it sparked right away. Like, that gauge jumped to 150, and that was on a dry test. There was not even a point I'm trying on a wet test. So the difference between the two, when you do a dry test, you just take the tool, which actually I have the tool kit right here. This is what the tool kit looks like right there. So when you take the tool, you plug one end in to the tool kit, it's to the gauge itself, up top to the gauge, and then on the other end that goes down into where you remove the spark plug. So when you do a dry test, you do it where you just plug it direct, and then, you know, you crank it, and you got to count like 5 seconds, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then see what it, you know, it's reading. And then on a wet test, the way you do it is I have this little quart of oil, and it has like a little tube at the end, and then when you know, press the top of the handle, it'll drip just a little bit of oil, and you want it to drip a little bit of oil in there, and then, you know, do the same thing with that tool, put back on, and then crank it and count to 5, and then see what it says, if there's a reading. And if there is a reading between both of those dry and wet tests, you want to make sure that they're close to each other. So if you're getting on the gauge, if it's reading 150 on a dry test and it's reading like 130 on a wet test, or vice versa, that's not bad. That means it's pretty accurate, right? But if there's a 30% difference of a gap where it's 150 then 30% less, you might have an issue. I was hoping that I didn't have any issue with the piston, and I was hoping that it would get compression. So once I did those tests and I seen that it didn't have nothing on the gauge on cylinder number 1, cylinder number 3, it was 150 clean. So that told me that the one that had no oil on it, cylinder number 3, was completely dry as far as the spark plug, like the rest of them. And then cylinder number 1 had oil on it before when I replaced them, and it still had oil on it now. So when I did the test, there was no point of even doing a wet test, because on a dry test there was no spark. So that really hurt. Once I found out the motor's gone pretty much at that point, because you could fix it, but you have to sit here and rebuild it and take it all apart. Half of the engine got to come out anyway, and half of the engine got to be taken apart, and there's no point of rebuilding it, because it has over 100,000 miles. I mean, I've had the car for 7 years now. I got it in December of 2012, and I enjoy the car. I drive it, well, recently I didn't drive it at all during the week. I drive my Kia Optima to work, and on the weekend I would drive Prime. So but I have traveled with it for big shows, and I'm very grateful that Prime's been able to come back home with some big trophies. So that was pretty cool. But it could have kept going. It could have kept going. I feel like the motor could have kept going, but the fact that it was installed incorrect as far as the catch can when the supercharger was all put together, it caused too much pressure, and it eventually made that oil cap pop off, and it was gonna give one way or another sooner or later. I knew it was, because the motor is getting older. I just didn't know when, so I kept an eye on it the entire time. But it was hard, man. It really sucked. It was really hard. So one day later at work, biggest headache that I've ever had in my life. It felt like my accident happened all over again with the pain. I didn't like that feeling, but I just kept praying, and everybody out there kept praying, and one person messaged me on Instagram out of nowhere. Shout out to my man. I don't remember what his Instagram is. If you watch this video, bro, comment, let me know on Instagram. I'll shout you out there too. One guy, it's like this dude was like an angel, man. Like one guy popped in my inbox on Instagram and was like, look, Dilla, bro, I know you have a 2013, but I got the same car you got. Mine is a 2012, and for some reason when you look up motors that are for a 2013, they're expensive, but compared to like a 2014, 2015, I was like, what do you mean? So our motor for the 2012 to 2015 is exactly the same. It's the LFX motor. They're all exactly the same motor. 2012 to 2015. 2010 to 2011, those are that LLT motor. So it's a different motor compared to the LFX. I believe that motor is 312 horsepower, and this was 323 when you first get it. That one you could put headers on it. This one you can't put headers on it. So either way, platform of the motor is a little bit different compared to the other one. So I want to make sure I get the same exact motor, because I don't want to blow the motor. I want to get the same one. I have to transfer over my injectors, being that they're ATS-V Cadillac injectors, 2016 Cadillac. The Kohler spark plugs, I got to change the tensioner. My tensioner is different than just a regular stock Camaro tensioner. It's not even a Camaro tensioner, to be honest. I believe the tensioner that's on this, with the bigger pulley on there, based on the direction that it points, I believe it came from a Ford Escape. I think it was what it was, because of the direction it's pointing to when they built the kit, so that way they knew exactly how the belt was gonna line up. So, and then the belt is brand new, my coil packs are brand new, my spark plugs are brand new. All of that has to get transferred over to the new motor. Now get this, when this guy told me this, I started doing a little bit of research, and once I did that research, I can't believe, like, listen, I don't know how things work. I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of downs, and I've had a lot of ups, but I've had, man, some tough downs, and I always continue to keep pushing and keep fighting, just to show everybody out there that, I know that, Prime is very fortunate that won some really big shows and get a lot of love and support from a lot of people around the world. I know I don't drive, a ZL1 or a Hellcat or, that new Mustang that's like, what is that, like 680 or over 700 horsepower? I can't remember, but I know I don't have nothing like that, but what I do have is a lot of passion in my build, and hopefully, God willing, with all the support and everything from the channel and everything, I can possibly, bring home that ZL1 with work and everything else that I'm doing. So, this year is my goal to bring home the ZL1, and I pray that I could do that. But I can't do it without the support of everybody. Like, I literally need that support from everybody, and it's things like this where you guys are watching this video right now and showing me a lot of love. Like, I posted a edited video that I did and it was a really motivational video from me getting into an accident to this point with the motor, and where we thought that when we found out that the motor was gone, I happened to find another motor within a day. And it's crazy how it works, because you go from 1 minute thinking like there's no hope, like it's just crazy how it just happens out of nowhere, because it's not a regular car, man. You know what I mean? Like if it was my Kia Optima and something happened, you know, you replace it, blah blah blah, you keep going, right? But when you put your heart and soul into something with what you can work with, this is all I can work with, you know, for the time being. This is it, you know. So it's crazy how God works, is all I gotta say. You know, when you pray from the heart, not from the head, I believe he responds a lot quicker. He can hear everything, he knows everything before you say it, when you think it. But when you pray from the heart, not from the head, it's just amazing how that works. So I thought about doing the V8 swap, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I got everything else on the car as a V8. From the suspension to the brakes to the rear end, literally the whole crate, drop crate off of a 2012 SS. And it's crazy because it's manual back there and the car is automatic. Went from 292 to 345 ratio LSD. Like it just, you know, just everything, you know, everything that I've been pushing for, you know, on the car. The only thing remaining is the transmission and the engine. So I thought about doing it, but then I said, look, I can't not put the supercharger in there. If I got an LS3, I could put that supercharger on an LS3, but I need the supercharger bracket, I need a radiator, I need everything from the V8 motor. I'm gonna need the transmission, the downpipes, the computer, you know, for the ECU, and remap everything, the ECU to TCU. Like I gotta do so much work, you know, just to get that LS3 in there. Because I know some people said just do a LS1 or LS2 swap, and I said, yeah, that's cool, but like if I'm going that far deep, I'm gonna go with a LS3, so that way you can get some like really fun, crazy numbers in. But when I found this motor that I found, being that right now Prime is at 139,000, that's where the mileage is on the car. The motor that I found was a 2015, and it only has 37,000 miles on the car. So that's like resetting the clock 100,000 miles for me, like 100,000 miles back. Like all the driving and all the fun and cruises, 100,000 miles back. It was a blessing. And I found this motor for $1,012 plus $250 to ship it, and I got it from LKQ. So I'll make sure I tag their website in the description, so that way whatever parts that you guys need, they're in multiple different states. And when she did the search, I called the girl. I found it on eBay Motors, but I called them direct on their website. I called them and I asked her, say, you know, how fast can I get this shipped? You know, I want it shipped to my house until I find a shop where I'm gonna get the motor installed. And she's like, well, I don't know about eBay, but if you order it directly through us, then I can tell you we place the order to, you know, that location that it's at, which was in Oregon, Portland, Oregon. And she said that, you know, they should ship it out within 2 days. And I said, okay. So earlier this week, I think it was like Monday, it was Tuesday when I ordered it. And Monday just wasn't, it wasn't a fun day at work, you know. Monday wasn't a fun day at work because that day, like, that was the day where I just couldn't believe that the motor is gone, you know. But Tuesday I ordered it, and it's a direct swap, you know. I just want to reset the clock for Prime. I could have put the V8 in there, but you can imagine, compare the difference. I mean, to find a LS3 with 37,000 miles on it, I've researched, man. They're like 6 grand, 5-6 grand just for the motor itself, you know. I'm gonna need a transmission and the radiator and I need the new lines for my nitrous, the bracket for the supercharger. There's quite a few things that I would have to do, and it'll just keep pushing me away and pushing me away and pushing me away from the ZL1, and I didn't want to do that. I just want to get Prime back on the road, put some more content out there. Hopefully now I can do my flybys and everything with the motor where it would be at. It'll have no more leaks, how I have the cardboard box under there. I've had that leak because of that catch can situation this entire time, and I had no clue. But now we can finally get Prime, God willing, back on the road. And thank you to that guy that sent me that message, because if it wasn't for him, like the 2013 motors were like $2,000 and up. I don't know why it's like that. The 2013 was more expensive than the 2015, and they're all the same. They're LFX motor, which was better that I went with a 2015 because it's a newer Camaro that it came out of and less mileage. And now keep in mind, that girl saw the pictures of that Camaro and she said it's really weird because the airbag's only deployed. There's not a scuff on the car. So go figure. But either way, I know I spent quite a bit of time on here, and I'm gonna edit this video, so it's probably gonna be like 13-14 minutes of me talking. You know, I just wanted to show you guys and tell you guys exactly my status, where I'm at, and then in the next video it's gonna be, I hope I'm here when the motor gets here so that way I can record it. But if I don't catch that part, I mean, she told me that yesterday, Friday, it was supposed to be here. She's like, you can get it by Friday, you know, at the earliest, and she's like, but I'll send you the tracking number. So she sent me the tracking number. She told me Friday, and the tracking number says earliest by Monday. So I figured anytime between Friday and Monday I should have it, you know. But I was hoping it would have been Friday or even today, because I didn't go to work yesterday or today. I'm off on Fridays and it's overtime on Saturdays, and I said I'm not gonna go in because I wanted to be here to capture the footage for the channel and everything, but it still hasn't gotten here yet. So I need to get the phone call from them first, and then they say, you know, here's your scheduled delivery. So hopefully they call me on Monday. They're probably gonna call me on Monday. If it's not here yet, unless they call me today and say Monday it's gonna be there, I would like to be here to record it. But if not, I'll record it when it's sitting here in my garage. And then there's a shop that I'm working with right now. I'm trying to lock in the dates, and then I'll announce it, and I'll shoot a video clip of the shop, show you what they do and all that good stuff. I'm super excited, man. I just want to get Prime back on the road. Supposed to be going to California in May for our 9-year head turner anniversary, and like, there's no way I can miss that, and God knows that. So I'm very grateful, you know. So I just want to jump on here and tell you guys I really appreciate all the love and support, man. Keep praying, keep supporting the channel. By supporting the channels, by giving the video a thumbs up. If it's your first time on my page, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If it's a return Priminator on the channel, originally from the page, I appreciate all the love, man. I do. Be sure to check out my Instagram, Camaro ZLS, and now we're popping on TikTok, man. I appreciate it. What are we at, like 134,000 or something? Like, it's nuts. Like, I don't know what's happening right now, but I just feel all the love and support. Everything that I've done for everybody for years, giving advice and tips and everything that I've accomplished, it's crazy how it's like a 180 right now. So I just want to tell you guys thank you very much. I'm sorry to talk you guys' ears out, but I appreciate you guys sitting here listening if you made it this far in the video. So in the meantime, between time, I love you guys. But A Dilla, Priminator, out. Peace.
It's all about humanity. Humanity. It's all about humanity.